Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hi, welcome to this broadcast of Living Wise with MS. I'm your host, Kim Preiling-Reesar. As usual, I'd like to start off by thanking MS&Me Radio, along with the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network, for this amazing opportunity. I am so honored and so grateful to be a part of this, and it is such an incredible initiative bringing together all of these MS voices to spread awareness and offer support to the greater MS community. It's truly incredible, and I'm very, very honored to be a part of it. The goal of this show and every Living Wise MS broadcast is to empower people living with MS to live the best possible lives they can. Living Wise means so many different things, and with each broadcast, I hope to address the various components that make up the big picture of what it means to live the best possible life you can with this chronic illness. Before I get started, and forgive me if you've heard this before, but I start off every broadcast with this little thought, is that I want to stress how important it is that you are the ones that find what works best for you. MS is such a variable disease, and although there are so many similarities to what each of us experience, what works for one person may not work for another. I know everyone in the MS community has such a big heart, and everyone means well and is trying to help others with what's worked for them. But, and there's always a but, you need to be wary and to take everything with perspective. There's a lot of valuable things out there, but also you truly need to find and focus on what works for you and only you. So I would say take everything people say, including me, with perspective and a grain of salt, and focus on you. Today's broadcast, we're going to talk about newly diagnosed with MS, being people who are newly diagnosed with MS. And basically my message, being a person who was diagnosed in 2003 and who's lived with MS for 14 years now, what I would want someone newly diagnosed with MS to know. Earlier this year on Twitter, Ohio Health posted a statistic stating that there are about 200 people newly diagnosed with MS every week in the United States. And on a side note, before I continue, I want to say that if you're not following Ohio Health on social media, I highly recommend that you start following them. They are an incredible resource for people with MS. They've got great, valuable information, trusted information on living well with this disease. And I highly recommend, if you're not following them, to look up Ohio Health and start following them. So going back to the original statement, I saw a statistic that they posted about 200 people newly diagnosed every week in the U.S. And seeing that number and that statistic just completely shattered me. It completely broke my heart. Like most people living with MS, I'll never, ever forget that time in my life after I was diagnosed with MS. It was just, to me, it was earth-shattering and life-altering. And I know how difficult and confusing and just messy that time can be after learning that you have MS. And my heart truly goes out to those 200 people and to those families. And all I can think about is all of these people, because it's not just the one person being affected by MS, it's the friends and family, all trying to sift through all that information and it being, I'm sure, relatively new information and just the multitude of feelings and emotions and just, like I said before, confusion that's just swirling about them. And I would love, 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 like I just envision just, I would love to hug every single one of these people newly diagnosed and their family members, especially their family members. I've run into a story that sticks out in my mind at the MS clinic, a mother with her son who was just diagnosed with MS and who had lost vision. And sitting next to her as we were checking out, just could sense and feel the emotion. And unfortunately, me, I can't not say anything. So I leaned over and I said, "Your son newly diagnosed." And she just kind of burst out into tears. And I did hug this complete stranger and said, "You know, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay." And I tried to share my story with her. I said, "Look at me. You know, I've got two beautiful sons. I've got a great life. You know, everything's good. It's going to be okay." And he's going to discover, and you're going to discover in him strength that you never knew that he had. And I hope that I gave this woman some comfort. I did share my email and phone number with her, and she did follow up and thank me via email, which was incredible for me. But just that seeing her, I knew, you know, I saw my own parents when they walked into the hotel, no, likely the hospital room, when they walked into that hospital room when had my first big exacerbation that diagnosed me, and the tears in their eyes when they saw me. And it just, if I could ease that pain in any way, I would do it if I could. I just want people to know that they're going to get through this time and everything is truly going to be okay. But because I can't hug all these people, I can't see them face to face and look them in the eye and reassure them. I try to do it any way that I can, you know, by living the best possible life I can. Hopefully, I come across someone newly diagnosed that I can help. I'm always ready with my email address, my phone number, because I hate to hear people going through what I can look back on and say was a horrible time in my life. But so I've come up with, you know, 10 kind of pieces of advice to make it a nice round number. There could probably be countless, numerous pieces of advice that I would give someone newly diagnosed with MS, but this is like David Letterman. I guess this would be my top 10 list if I had to whittle it down. The first piece of advice that I would give someone newly diagnosed with MS is I would say just take it one day at a time. Allow yourself to feel what you're feeling and know that it's all normal and that every emotion that you're feeling is valid. And take your time, you know, and take every day, just have small victories. And with every day, it's going to get easier. But take your time because everyone deals with a diagnosis in their own way and in their own time. But truly, every day it will get easier, and every day is a win. Every day you're moving closer and closer to being okay, and it's going to be okay. Number two that I would say, and I want to also stress that these are in no particular order of importance, but number two, I would say, is that you are stronger than you know. You will discover a strength that you had no idea even existed. And whether this is like pure survival instinct or if there's something to the theory that you're only given what you can handle. I'm truly convinced that people living with MS are some of the strongest people I know. Some of the people I meet, and even who I haven't met, who I just know through social media, are just incredible, amazing people. And I don't know if there's something to that theory or that saying that, we don't know how strong we are until we're faced with something that challenges us. But I truly believe that I always kind of prided myself with being strong physically, but I had no idea that I had this mental strength and this mental fortitude. But number two would have to be you'll discover strength you didn't even know existed. Number three that I would tell someone newly diagnosed is that your life is not over. By no means at all is your life over. Like your newfound strength, you'll discover a new life as well. So in a way, yeah, you do have to, and I had to go through a period where I had to let go of my quote unquote old life and embrace this new life. But this new life doesn't mean that it has to be less than the old life. It to me, it's even greater in some ways. And you'll learn this new way of living, and your life will be different. But like I said, it doesn't mean that it has to be worse because of multiple sclerosis. You have a choice now on what you're going to do with this disease and how you're going to fight it. And to me, living life and truly enjoying and valuing every single bit of it and not taking anything for granted is the best way to fight MS. It's the best way to overcome it. It's the best way to empower yourself against it. Number 4 tip that I want to stress to very, very strongly stress, you are never a burden to your family and friends. Never think that you're a burden to those closest to you. They love you and they want to support you. Know too that they are also handling your diagnosis with MS, and there's confusion there too. And they're learning what it means to them as well as what it means to you. So they may be unsure of how to interact with you, but like you, they're going to work through this and they're going to get it to a state of acceptance in their own time and hopefully offer you the support that you need. But know that you're never, ever a burden to your family and friends. On that note, my number 5 is you will learn who's important in your life, who and what is important in your life. Hopefully you'll learn not to sweat the small stuff and you'll learn that you have to let some things go and that truly it's not important in life. But there's also people out there too that just won't understand or they won't try to understand your life with a chronic illness. But I've found through this that you learn who is a true friend and those you want to keep around in a way that other people are not really worth it. You have to let those people go and try not to look back. You'll gain new friendships on this journey who will understand, who will get it, and who will support you in any and every way possible. I always say that MS is a great way to weed out the bad apples and to find the people who are, or the good people that you want to keep hold of in your life. Number 6, I would have to say that you are never alone. I want to stress this as well because there are a lot of like-minded people out there dealing with some of the very same things that you deal with on a daily basis. And don't ever feel like you don't have the support because it's out there, and don't stop looking for it. I know it's hard at first to find a positive group of people living with MS, but they're out there and I found them. And if they're not local, if you're not finding a support group around where you live, there are loads of people out there on social media sharing information and empathy and support. And they are there to support you and to say, hang in there, but they're also there to be like, oh, I've been there. I know what you're dealing with. hope you feel better soon. They're all ready and willing to help. And it's a truly an amazing and terrific community online. I'd say one of the truly positive things to come out of social media. I know I sometimes am down on social media that there's not always good things that come out of it, but truly the support that I see for people with MS online is truly incredible. Number 7 tip or advice that I would give to someone newly diagnosed is just, or what I'd want them to know, is that you will truly learn and get in tune to your body. You'll truly be able to listen to your body. You'll get extremely in tune with it. You'll know when something is not right or off, and you may even learn warning signs or triggers, things that you know might make you feel better or worse. And you'll learn how to overcome any limitations in order to continue to do what you want to do. And if not, I found living with MS, you learn an incredible amount of adaptability and flexibility, and you will learn and find a new path. If something's not working, you will find a new path to make it work, or you'll find a way around. Just be open and flexible to those other alternatives because they're out there as well. But number 7, I would say you definitely will get in tune with your body, extremely in tune with it. Number 8 that I'd want someone newly diagnosed to know is that you can still be physically active. I know that was a big blow for me when I was diagnosed. I thought that I was not going to be able to be physically active, something that I had been my whole life. I was an athlete my whole life and thought that was over when I was diagnosed. But many of people who are newly diagnosed think that they can no longer be physically active. And it has been proven that physical activity has positive effects on multiple sclerosis. And practitioners encourage MS patients to move as much as possible. So know that movement is good for you as long as you're listening to your body and to your practitioner. Many people that are newly diagnosed, I believe, at least I did, you fear life in a wheelchair or with a cane. But know that most people with MS will never need an assistive walking device. And even if you do, those that I've come across that do use these devices don't see it as, they see it as their way to freedom, as a sense of self-reliance and independence. These things are helping them to stay active and have the good quality of life and to allow them, like I said, that freedom to continue to do what they've always done. Number 9, and I want to be delicate with this, but it's not, MS is not a fatal disease. Yes, there are people who have died from complications of MS, but it's complications. It's not MS, the disease is not a death sentence. It's not fatal. Most people live long, fulfilling lives. And in fact, that statistic has grown. There used to be a time where they thought it was a shortened lifespan, but with the advances in medical science and people with MS becoming more educated about the disease, the lifespan is just like any other person who doesn't have MS. It's just the same as the general population. So number 9 would be that MS is not a fatal disease and it has come a long, long way. It's not the disease it used to be. And I really believe that people can live fulfilling, wonderful lives with MS. It's not an easy road, but there are so many other things in this world, as I've discovered, that everyone is dealing with something, whether it be a chronic illness or something else. Everyone is dealing with something. And the number 10, and I don't know, like I said, this is not in any particular order, would be always maintain hope. Always hold on to that. I think that helps to keep us going as people and just as a population. always maintain that hope and never, ever give up on your goals and your dreams. I hate to hear people with MS giving up on something that they loved to do or something that they want to do. But on the flip side of that, I love hearing stories of people with MS challenging themselves, getting out of their comfort zone to do something that they never thought they would do. But know, on all this note, if I was talking to someone newly diagnosed, that I would want them to know that they're diagnosed at a time when there are many exciting developments happening in the world of MS. There are amazing research studies and treatments. The treatment options are incredible. I want to, I would stress the fact that you're being diagnosed in a time where there's over a dozen disease modifying therapies out on the market. And I don't consider 14 years since I've been diagnosed a long time, considerably in the world, just generally speaking. 14 years is long, but not incredibly long. But just 14 years ago, there was only four medications on the market, in the U.S. market, that were FDA approved for MS. That to me is just, and look how far it's come in 14 years. So I'd want to a newly diagnosed person to know that they are definitely diagnosed. If you could be diagnosed at any time, it's a good time to be diagnosed. MS can be successfully managed with these disease modifying therapies, and also all the symptoms that accompany MS can be managed. Majority of them can be successfully managed either with medications or a lot of non-medication therapies. And I'm having a little bit of cog fog there. I'm trying to think of the word that I was looking for, but therapies that are not medication. So like exercise for fatigue, or there is some occupational and physical therapy that can be used to overcome many of the symptoms. So my message to those newly diagnosed would be all those 10 things that I mentioned, and like I said, a multitude of more pieces of advice or information. But the most important thing is that you're gonna be okay, and you're gonna get through this time. And hopefully, I think it's like passing it on. I hope you'll continue to stay active with MS awareness and to keep educating yourself and educating others on the disease. I think that only helps us as an MS community. And know too, look to some of those that have been here, that have lived with the disease, and who are successfully, I believe, successfully living with the disease and managing it. And try to focus on what you can do and continue to do, and never give up that hope. Now, multiple sclerosis is not a brotherhood or a sisterhood that I'd like to share with anyone. In fact, it continues to break my heart when I know that there's going to be 200 new people diagnosed this week. Oh, man, sorry. And I hate to hear or think about anyone going through pain with this, but I truly, truly believe that we can beat this disease together, that there will be a cure, and I want to celebrate all those people that are living with it today and overcoming it and fighting, who are fighting each and every day. I can't stress enough to everyone out there to keep fighting. And know that there are people out there rooting you on and cheering you on. And maintain that hope. Maintain that hope for a cure, because there will be a cure. I know it. And I've said this before, I have this silly belief, but I kind of think if you put energy towards something and you believe in something and you keep saying something and believe in it, that it'll be truth someday. And I believe there will be a cure. There will be a cure for multiple sclerosis. Whew. Now, I would like everyone to know that you can find me on livewisems.org. It's a fabulous new patient and caregiver resource site brought to you by the International Organization of MS Nurses. And I think it's incredible because it's healthcare content, it's clinical content that's been reviewed and approved by nurses from the International Organization of MS Nurses. And we give patient summaries of this content. So you can go on there, you can see what you need to know and why you need to know it. And it's information that your practitioners are reading. So again, it goes back to staying educated and being empowered by that education. Having the true information, I believe, helps us in this fight. If you know what you're fighting and how to go about fighting it, that's the best way to do it. LiveWiseMS.org also has social media sites, and I manage their social media sites. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus, and Instagram. I think it's a great site. I would encourage you to check it out or to follow us on those social media sites. I would love to hear from anyone out there. You can reach me at editor@livewisems.org. On that note, I hope everyone is doing well. Again, my heart goes out to those 200 newly diagnosed, but I know us as an MS community are ready to embrace you all and to show you that you can live a really wonderful, successful, fulfilling life with MS. I hope you join me with future Living Wise with MS broadcasts on MS&Me Radio. And until next time, everyone stay well, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.